Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are back here to look at the sin and benefits of riba. So we are getting the clue from the Surah Al-Baqarah 219 that when the Quran was explaining to the non-believer about intoxicant and gambling, the Quran says that in the intoxicant and gambling there are great sin and some benefit for people, but the sin are much greater than the benefit. So we can say that it is safe to imply that in riba too there is great sin and some benefit, but the sin are much greater than the benefit. So we should be able to basically outline what are the sins in riba, what are the evils, and what are the danger in riba, and what are the benefit. So this can be proven scientifically. We can use data and we can model the consequences of this ribawi transaction into the maslahah and the mafsadah, as well as manfa'ah and mudarah. And that will be very easy to do once we have the data and the subsequent model to test, the respective hypotheses regarding the evils of riba. And we can see that further mentioning of the consumption of riba, and in Surah Al-Baqarah 275 we can see that that the Quran have threatened the people who consume riba. Those who consume riba will stand on Judgment Day like those who have been driven mad by Satan's touch. So this is a very so-called a grave picture of how people will behave in the day of judgment in front of Allah, as they have consumed riba, and that consumption of riba is described as madness. So this mad or insane or confound people, the people who consume riba are mentioned as mad or insane or confound. And when the people are in the state of such madness and insanity, they will not be constrained by reason or akal, right? They are just simply insane, and rational thinking does not matter at all, because they cannot think. They are much obsessed or influenced or influenced by lust and desire for the dunya, and they have forgotten how to see the benefit and the disbenefit. So the reason or akal is not able to do the calculation or the assessment between good and evil, between benefit and disbenefit, between upside and downside, because they are in the state of this insanity. So no matter what damage riba can impact the humanity, they are not able to comprehend that kind of consciousness. They do not care, as their craziness and lust for money, because this money are gotten by way of passive action. They are just sitting on the money, and the system will make more money and more money. And the lust for money has no bearing on the suffering of others, right? So they are just thinking about how much more money, more fortune that they can so-called engross, and they have no conscience about who will be the victims of their transaction. So in this state of mental paralysis, they are heedless to the harmful consequences of riba, even onto themselves. So we can see, for example, in the yen carry trade, they were in their usual self, as they enjoy the money from the yen carry trade over the 2-3 years, where rate in Japan is 0% and rate in US is 5.5, they are in the money. But when the Bank of Japan raises the interest rate, then they are in trouble, because the gap are no longer there, and the yen has gone up. So they have to somehow recover their position by selling off whatever asset they have, and they are selling at a loss. So those days when they are making lots of money, so we can see how this tech company are making trillions due to this so-called yen carry trade, because it essentially ignite the stock market in the US. But once the unwinding of the carry trade took place, we can see the crashing of the stock market in the global way. And then we can see that the curse of riba, the messenger of Allah, curse the one who consume riba. So these are the customer. So we are the one who is consuming riba. The consumer, the one who is using the loan to buy a house, to buy a car, to buy, your iPhones, to buy your, whatever that we desire, using credit card and using personal loan. So we are doing that with riba. And then who is charging it? Of course, it is the banking company, the money lending company. They will charge interest, and they will charge interest based on your credit standing, based on your credit rating. So if our credit rating is low, we have to pay higher interest, right? And most of us are the working class, so we have to pay more because we don't have much money. But we eventually pay more because we don't have any other option but the banking loan, right? Those who witnessed it, and the one who recorded it. So these are the legal firm who facilitated the loan documentation. They make money from these services. So you can see there are a lot of stakeholders in the riba business: the consumer, the banking company, the legal firm, and all that. And Rasulullah SAW cursed these people. So we have to be very aware, that the danger of riba is real. And of course, we have Islamic banking and finance to save us from hellfire. So we do hope that the Islamic banking and finance product and instrument are able to so-called eliminate or remove any kind of evil or danger, or sin that is existing in the riba instrument. And the Islamic financing instrument should contain more and more benefit compared to the riba instrument. So this is our own desire to see how Islamic banking and finance, should move forward to benefit the Muslim Ummah and the general people, of course. So we can see further the sin of riba, the disastrous impact of riba on wealth. So we do not want to see Islamic finance instrument to fall into this pit of fire, offering product like tawarruk, or mala faida murabaha that behave like riba, that have the same cause and effect like riba. And so the sin of riba can still be seen in this tawarruk and mala faida murabaha. And of course, we hope that things can improve because the Islamic banking is operated in a dual banking system, where the regulatory framework and the legal framework are not meant to be benefiting Islamic system, because the Islamic system is based on al-bay', that is sale real sale, real leasing, profit sharing, but the conventional infrastructure are not made for that kind of risk-taking, because they are made to take financial risk like credit risk, market and operational risk. They are not made to absorb what we call ownership risk or business risk. That is a natural risk in Islamic in sale and leasing and in mudarabah. But whatever it is, the sin of riba is clear by now. So we can look at the US subprime crisis, 2008. The losses in the household wealth from the 2008 subprime crisis were about 11 trillion in the USA. 8.5 trillion are, hurting financial asset, and 2.5 trillion in housing asset. And home foreclosures affect more than 49 million households. So we are looking at working people who have suffered a lot, trying to, own a house, but at the end of the day, they went into bankruptcy, right? And people who are investing in stocks and bonds during that time, that period of low interest rate, they have caused this overlending and borrowing in the real estate market that eventually crashes down, due to the bursting of the bubble. And finally, we can see that the US subprime crisis and the subsequent global financial crisis that that spread over Asia and Europe caused 7.4 trillion in stock market paper losses, right? So people at one time were feeling very wealthy and confident to go through their livelihood, but suddenly they saw they are becoming more and more poor because of the loss of wealth from the stock market losses. About 3.4 billion in real estate wealth were wiped out. So this is again in the Maqasid Syariah. We are talking about the daruriyat, the protection of property, right? So property will wipe out, wealth, land, value, and everything were destroyed in value, and many companies went into bankruptcy, and about 7.5 million Americans lost jobs. So this is, how the riba system have, severely destroyed the life of the American people. So the destruction of wealth is very, very real here. This is not just a game, a gimmick. This is real. This is not a fake story. So Islamic finance, you should be aware of this, severe consequences of producing product that resemble the riba product. So please, the Sharia advisory, please be aware of the economic, your economic understanding of how riba is impacting the life of the working people, including, people in Malaysia as well as people in the rest of the world. Okay, guys, we will see you again in the next video. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.